The letters in the attic. Maren hadn't set foot in her grandmother's attic since the funeral. Dust hung in the September light like something suspended, unwilling to fall. She'd come for the practical things, the deed, the insurance papers, the small mechanics of death. What she found instead was a shoebox tied with twine, tucked behind a steamer trunk, with her own name written on the lid in her grandmother's careful hand. For Maren, when she's ready. Eleanor. She sat right there on the floorboards, twine cutting into her fingers as she worked the knot loose, and pulled out a stack of letters. Dozens of them. Envelopes yellowed at the edges, some sealed, some not. Spanning, she checked the postmarks. Almost 60 years. The first one was dated 1967. Not addressed to Maren at all, but to someone named Thomas. My dearest Tom, you asked me why I never answer when you ask about the accident. I think it's time I told you the truth, though I'm not sure I'll ever send this. Maren frowned. She'd never heard of a Thomas. Her grandfather's name was Walter, steady, quiet Walter, who died when she was 9, who she remembered mostly as a smell of pipe tobacco and a laugh like gravel. She kept reading. The letter described a car accident on a rural road outside Millbrook, the town where her grandmother had grown up. A summer night, headlights, a boy named Danny who didn't survive it. Eleanor had been driving. She'd been 18. I never told your father. I never told anyone but you, and even you I couldn't tell to your face. I'm a coward, Tom. I've been a coward for 40 years. Maren's hands had gone still. She'd known her grandmother as calm to the point of serenity, a woman who pressed flowers into books and made soup for sick neighbors, and never, not once in Maren's whole childhood, raised her voice. The idea of her grandmother carrying something like this, silently, for decades, didn't fit. Or maybe it fit too well, in a way that rearranged everything Maren thought she understood about her. She opened the next letter, and the next. They weren't in order. Eleanor seemed to have shuffled and reshuffled the box over the years, so the story came to Maren sideways in fragments, the way memory actually works. Thomas, it turned out, was Danny's older brother. He and Eleanor had grown up 2 houses apart. After the accident, everyone assumed the friendship would end. How could it not? But instead, they'd started writing to each other. Not about the accident, not at first. About small things. The weather. A dog Thomas was trying to train. A dress Eleanor was sewing for a dance she didn't attend because she couldn't imagine dancing anymore. Over the years, the letters changed. They stopped being about small things. Somewhere in the 1970s, buried in the stack, Maren found this. I think I write to you because you're the only person who lets me be the person who did this. Everyone else needs me to be recovered. You let me still be sorry. Maren pressed the back of her hand to her mouth. Outside, a car passed on the street below, ordinary and unaware. She kept reading. Thomas married someone else. Eleanor married Walter. The letters didn't stop. They just changed shape again, became less frequent, more careful, the kind of correspondence 2 people maintain when they've quietly decided the friendship matters more than the danger of it. There were photographs tucked between some of the pages. A young man with an easy smile, squinting into the sun. Eleanor, younger than Maren had ever seen her, laughing at something outside the frame. Near the bottom of the box was a letter dated only 3 years ago, after Walter had passed, after Eleanor herself had started, in small ways, to fade. Tom, I don't think I'll be able to write much longer, and I find I'm not afraid of that the way I thought I'd be. I'm afraid of one thing only, which is that I never told Danny's family how I carried him. Every year, every single year, I have thought of him on that date, and I have tried to live in a way that might have made him glad, if such a thing is possible from wherever he is. I am leaving these letters for my granddaughter. Not because I think she should carry this too. She shouldn't. It was never hers to carry. But because I want someone to know the whole of me after I'm gone. Not just the woman who made good soup. Also the girl on that road. Also the woman who loved you, in whatever careful shape that love was allowed to take. Thank you for 60 years of letting me be honest with someone. The last item in the box wasn't a letter at all. It was a folded piece of paper, newer than the rest, the creases still sharp. A note in handwriting Maren didn't recognize. Eleanor, I got your last letter 2 weeks before you passed. Your niece was kind enough to let me know. I want you to know I read every single one of these over the years, and I kept them too. And when I'm gone, they'll go to my daughter with instructions to find you, or you, or whoever's left of you, so the two halves of this story can finally sit in the same room. I forgave you before you ever asked me to, back in 1969, standing in your mother's kitchen. I only wish I'd said it plainly instead of just staying your friend and hoping you'd feel it. Tom. Below that, in different ink, a phone number, and beneath it, my daughter, Ruth, in case you're reading this after I'm gone too. Maren sat with the letter for a long time, the attic light shifting gold to amber as the afternoon wore on. She thought about how much of a person stays hidden even from the people who love them most, not out of dishonesty, but because some griefs are too large to hand to someone who has to keep loving you afterward. She thought about her grandmother's soup, her grandmother's garden, her grandmother's quiet, and understood for the first time that the quiet had never been emptiness. It had been a room where something enormous was being carefully, patiently held. She found her phone in her bag, her thumb hovering over the keypad. Somewhere out there was a woman named Ruth, who had also inherited a box of letters, half of a conversation that had lasted 60 years and outlived everyone who started it. 2 granddaughters, strangers, each holding one wing of the same story. Maren dialed. It rang twice. Hello. A woman's voice, cautious, the way people are with unknown numbers. Hi, Maren said, and found her own voice unsteady in a way that surprised her. This is going to sound strange. My name is Maren. I think your father knew my grandmother. Her name was Eleanor. There was a pause on the line. Not confusion, Maren realized, but recognition. The particular silence of someone who has been waiting, without quite knowing it, for exactly this call. I have a box of letters with your grandmother's handwriting in it, Ruth said quietly. I was starting to think no one would ever call. Outside, the light kept softening toward evening, the way it does at the end of every ordinary day, indifferent to the fact that inside one small attic, 2 ends of a very long story had just, finally, found each other.